I did not have that many friends growing up, and even if I did, I couldn't relate to most of them. I'd be that kid who used to like sit in the back of the classroom all by himself, all kind of reserved. And in lunchtime, I remember clearly, I used to go sit in the like stands near the fields where my like classmates would play. They used to play soccer, and I just watch them while eating my burrito. And I used to just think that how would life be if I had more friends, if I fit in more. And honestly, it's kind of embarrassing to admit this, but one of my major goals in like life pretty much for a long time was to get into my school's soccer team. And I'll tell you why it's embarrassing in a second. But for this goal, bro, I used to practice so much. I used to like do drills at home. I used to I used to go for runs in the morning. I used to practice shooting, and I lost a lot of weight because of that goal. So you might be thinking like that's a pretty good goal, Adipto. So why is that embarrassing? Well, I set that goal, the goal of me making that the team, not because I like truly loved soccer. I did like it. I did like love it. I watched a lot of soccer, but not because I truly love soccer or football, as some people might know it. Um, Not because I wanted to grow up and become a footballer like Messi or Ronaldo. Not because of that, but because if I made the soccer team, if I made the soccer team in my school, more people would like me. I'd get more friends. I'd be less lonely. And honestly, bro, for a long time I was that insecure kid who could not handle loneliness. Like could not be a second like spend a second alone with himself. Like there was this one time I remember when I was on my bed scrolling. I had nothing to do, so I was just scrolling through Instagram. And as I was scrolling, I found a picture, a post of my friends from school and my classmates from school in kind of like a birthday party or something. And I did not even know about it. I had no clue about it. I wasn't invited. I was just on my bed just scrolling, and I just came across that picture. And in that moment, I felt so much like an outcast, like I didn't fit in. And I literally broke down. I literally broke down and I hugged my pillow. This was like what, 3 years back, 3 years ago. I broke down. I started like kind of like crying, honestly. I started crying. I hugged my pillow and I started imagining a different life where I would be like a popular kid. I'd have more friends. I'd be more social. People would start liking me. I got invited to the birthday parties or the hangouts, the meetups, and a life where honestly I wasn't lonely. And honestly, man, I'm grateful that happened. I'm grateful that I went through that period of feeling so isolated from everybody else, not fitting in, feeling so lonely. I'm grateful for going through that time, because if I didn't go through that period in my life, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now. I wouldn't have this channel right now. I would be a lot like those people I would have fit in with back then. I would have never truly discovered what I wanted, what I liked, what my own purpose was. I would have never discovered that. I would have never gotten into self improvement, adventuring, reading, or business if I never went through that lonely period in my life. It's kind of weird how this that such a negative thing that I went through in my life has led me to such a beautiful and positive place in my life right now. I'm grateful for that happening. How interesting is that? If I had more friends back then, like 3 years ago, if I had more friends and I fit in more, I was like popular kid back then. It's pretty reasonable to say that I would have ended up a lot more like them. I'm still in the like same group chat with them still to this day. And sometimes, like not a lot of times, but sometimes I just like pop into this group chat and I wouldn't say anything. I'll just see how they were doing, and it's the same thing from 3 years back. Right now, it's the same thing, same brain rot type of content, like skibidi toilet and shit like that. And if I like got along with them more, if I like truly, if they truly were my like best friends, I would have been a lot more like them. I'd probably be a lot more brain dead. I'm not hating on them, by the way. They're good guys, and they're also like getting into self improvement, which I'm happy about. But some of them vaped, some of them smoked, some of them like did drugs, bro. They did drugs too, yeah. So it's pretty reasonable to say that if I was to hang out with them more, if I got invited to more like birthday parties or like hangouts or meetups, I would have been a lot more like them. Soon enough, as time went on and on and on, I got used to the feeling of just being with myself, just being completely alone, not like wanting somebody, craving that feeling of companionship, just being in solitude. It brought peace in my life. It brought a really blissful sensation in my life. Like I could do what I wanted, I could explore what I wanted, I could learn about what I wanted. It was just me. I didn't have to like switch my desires just because my friend was over or because of somebody else. I was truly like authentically myself. My desires were just based on what I wanted, not based on what that guy wanted or what that girl wanted, but based on what I wanted. And because of that, that was the period of time where I grew the most. I got into self improvement. I started like meditating daily. I woke up at 6 a.m. daily, and I set myself a clear goal, and I made the most progress in that goal in that period of time when I was completely in solitude. And it brought such a blissful feeling. Like I remember it was on 2 years back, January 2022. I set my goal of getting 6 A stars on my board exams, and I used to work like every day. I woke up at 6 a.m., studied, and put on some music, put the candles on, and then I would just study. And it was like I went on like, kind of weird saying this, but it was like as if I went on dates with myself. Like I'd clean my room almost like every 2 days. I'd clean my room. I'd like vacuum the floor. I'd dust the, like I'd clean my desk. I'd meditate. I took care of myself more in that period of time than I did like years back before that period. So bro, for you gotta accept that you are alone, not lonely, because those two, alone and lonely, they're very different things. Lonely means that you are longing for somebody in your life, but that somebody is missing. So that's why you feel kind of depressed and sad, because that somebody is missing. While alone means that you found your own company to be peaceful, to be wonderful. When you're alone and you feel miserable, it's obvious that you are in bad company. And by bad company, I mean you yourself. Why is it that on January 2022, the period that I grew the most, the period where I started self-improvement, like actually, why is it that then I was alone but happy, but a year back on January 2021, I was alone but very depressed and sad? Why is it like I'm still alone? I was still alone back then, right? But why is that in one period I was happy, but in the other I was sad? Well, it's obvious, because my own company back in January 2021 was shit. I didn't take care of myself. I had no like ambitious goals. I didn't respect myself. I was still doing like shitty, degenerate habits. Overall, my company was bad, and by company I mean myself. My own self was shit. That's why I wanted somebody by me. Somebody that I craved for, that somebody who could take me away from being miserable, take me out of that uncomfortable feeling. That's why I wanted to fit in. That's why I wanted to surround myself with people. I craved for that somebody. I longed for that somebody. So he or she could like take me away from that feeling of being shitty and miserable. And that's what's happening with you too. You don't like being with yourself because you right now have a shitty company. You don't respect yourself. You don't have any ambitious goals. You're not making progress. You're not doing the good habits. You don't like being alone by yourself. Like imagine this, okay? If you had a friend over which type of friend would you like more? The type of friend who always mocked you, who always hurt your feelings, who always like said shitty stuff about you, who made you go into like who influenced shitty behaviors like smoking, vaping? Would you be friends with that person, or would you like to have that person by your side, or would you like the friend who would push you more towards your goals, who would want you like who would persuade you to take on more better habits, who would make you improve yourself? Which type of friend would you want? That shitty friend or that good friend? It's the same with your own life, like your own company. You must make your own self a good friend to yourself. I hope that kind of makes sense. Love being by yourself, being alone, which honestly is probably one of the greatest skills that you can learn in today's day and age, especially how it's progressing now, like metaverse, TikTok, Instagram, all these like fake sources of connection is gonna make you feel more lonely than ever. So this is being alone. Being alone by yourself is probably one of the best skills that you can learn. You can either be by yourself and be lonely, or you can be by yourself and be alone. Like I said, those two are very different things. If you want to love being alone, you must make your own company the best as possible. You must treat yourself like you are your own best friend. Like back in January 2022, I treated myself like I was my own best friend. I took care of him. I treated the room. I cleaned the room for him. I made sure I got sunlight for him. I made sure I had ambitious goals so he had a better future. I treated him like a best friend. Loneliness is only you craving for some other person to take you out of that miserable feeling, out of your own bad company. The cure to loneliness is to treat yourself with respect. And this might, like I said, it might seem kind of weird, but treat yourself like you are your own date. What would you do when a date comes over? You would clean the room, you'd light a candle, you'd make them feel comfortable, you might put some like lo-fi music in the background. You will treat them well and with respect, right? The same goes with yourself. It's alright to be by yourself, to be alone. Alone is not a it's not a weird thing. Social media, TikTok, society, Instagram, all these things, movies too, like Hollywood movies too, they have made you think that being alone is weird, it's uncool, or it's weak. But in solitude is where you will find your true self, what you like. Not what the person you are accompanied by likes, but what you crave. Your true authentic self you will find when you are in solitude, when you are alone. In my opinion, I think everybody in the world should go through a period where they are completely by themselves, where they are completely alone. They are isolated from like most of the people, because otherwise like you will never find your true self. All these like billionaires, millionaires, or successful people you see, they all had a period of isolation, of complete isolation. Like Phil Knight, I'm reading this book. Okay, wait. All right, The Shoe Dog by. It's basically a biography. I think that biography of Phil Knight, who's the founder of Nike, a billion dollar company, right? In his book, he went through a period where he was completely alone, where he toured the entire world, almost the entire world, by himself. He discovered new things. He explored new places, and in that period, he learned a lot about himself. He got most of the ideas for his business in that period of isolation. Solitude is not a curse or a bad thing. It's a blessing. And you must learn that. Make it happen, bro. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.